Dear crystal lovers, welcome back to another vlogcast. If this is your first time here, my name is AM. I have a web shop named AVIUVI.com where you can go and purchase some of the most exquisite specimens of raw crystals. The crystals are ethically sourced, meaning you'll get the exact information on where it was found and by whom. And furthermore, there is a pre-loved section where you'll find premium secondhand crystals. In my videos, I talk all about crystals and spirituality and sustainability. And in today's vlogcast, it's going to be all about freedom and what it is to be a conscious creator. In the last vlogcast, I shared with you some of my thoughts on astrology, specifically the North Node in Aries that will flavor the focus of the collective consciousness in the next 1.5 years. The highest expression of Aries is the individual power and freedom. It's all about independence, claiming your rights and standing in your own truth. It's clarity on what you want and what you don't want. It is standing up for who you are and what you believe in with confidence. As we move further along on this clash of reality time period that we are in these years, I found it appropriate to speak a little bit more about the depth of the individual freedom and what it actually means to be a conscious creator. Ultimately, being a conscious creator means creating something from within, a void of nothingness from the 0 point. It is creating the reality illusion that we find ourselves in. It's creating that knowingly and actively, and not passively from repetition or from a subconscious and unconscious pattern. So it's really embodying the creator that calls reality into existence through potential. You may call it God or life or the higher consciousness or something completely unique to you. And it might sound like a lot of work, but also just remember that all things that we find in the manifested world was once not manifested. Being a conscious creator, you don't have to be spiritual or to do spiritual work or work with crystals. You don't have to be quote unquote good, because in the eyes of the creator, there's nothing good or bad. Sometimes this part gets a little bit confusing because you might assume that being a conscious creator means that you have to be really nice, a really good person, but in actuality, that is not the case. It's not a question of virtues or kind-heartedness or how many good deeds you do to others. However, it would be great if more service to all-minded people would get better at consciously creating. So that's why I made this vlogcast. By the way, we're still on holiday, and I really do enjoy making these vlogcasts when I'm out of the office because I have a little bit more time to sit down and contemplate these big things. And I feel like in the vlogcasts, the messages comes out a little bit more clearer than when I sit with a camera in front of me. And you guys seem to enjoy the vlogcasts too. So about manifesting, often it's more clear for us as human beings when we are being unconscious creators. Or in other words, when we are out of alignment, when you don't align with who you really are, which is a conscious creator, every lie you tell yourself becomes more and more energetically expensive, if that makes sense. Life in general becomes more energetically expensive. Things don't have a natural flow. You feel limited. You are exhausted all the time. You get sick easily. Relationships fall apart. Those kinds of things. It's when you feel like you're starving yourself out in certain areas or on all levels of your life. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like there are times when you have to force everything in life? Like twisting the arm of what you want. And then that there are times when everything you want just flows naturally and falls into your lap. So that's what being in alignment and out of alignment really feels like. This is the clue that you have to get back into alignment. So how do we do that? The first step is acknowledging that you're out of alignment, and not to beat yourself up about it, because it happens to everybody, including me. Andreas and I would call it being in the bad end of the buffet. If you imagine a huge buffet, and in one end there's the good stuff, and in the other end there's the bad stuff or the boring stuff that you really don't enjoy. But all you have to do is actually just to move slowly but steadily up to the bitter end of the buffet. That's the analogy that we use that describes the feeling in the best way, I think. So if you find yourself out of alignment, purging and resting would be my next move. I found that when I try to power through and eat whatever is in the bad end of the buffet, eventually I'll end up purging and resting anyway. So if I'm able to do it before it escalates, the realignment comes much quicker. In my experience, slowing down and being in the present moment and connecting with nature seems to do the job for me too. And I know that's easier said than done, because when you're out of alignment, it often feels completely counterintuitive to let go of the grind. At this phase, it's fine to explore strong emotions. However, I've found that detaching and not being identified with them really helps. So try to identify with them just by observing them. So instead of telling yourself, I am angry, I tell myself, I feel the emotion anger, or AM is experiencing the emotion anger. So make a conscious decision to either further explore these emotions or let go of the emotions. When I have managed to calm myself down, and that can take a few hours or days or a week, the next step for me is to create synergy between spirit and mind and body. The mind is the link between pure energy and the materialized form. We as humans are able to direct pure energy through the mind and materialize it in physical form. And that might sound really convoluted, but it's not, because it happens constantly whether we are aware of it or not. Creating a steady rhythm of gratitude is the next step, and I've shared that with you before, that it is the quickest and easiest way to zone in and to manifest consciously. Writing in my gratitude journal as the first thing I do in the morning has become one of the biggest game changers for me. It completely interrupts all the patterns that doesn't serve you, and it provides you with a clear roadmap of what you're going for. There's enormous power in repetition, because that is just how we are wired as human beings. We are creatures of habit, and there's a good reason for that, but it's not all habits that are beneficial for us. So a great spiritual practice is key here. We all know the situation where we cognitively understand that we're not supposed to do something, and we can understand it on an intellectual level, but as long as the change hasn't become an integrated habit, nothing will be any different than before. When we get to a point where we no longer have to convince ourselves that this is who you are and this is what you want to do, then the change is part of our internal autopilot system. So you'll get a new self-image where you're not identified with the previous programming. The freedom of being a conscious creator becomes actualized by words and thoughts and actions. It will develop a healthy balance between intuition and logic. You'll start noticing synchronicity, so the right people showing up at the right time, and perfect opportunities unfolding for you. So you'll get control of your mental tools, like your internal memory-based systems, like willpower, the ability to hold the focus on something specific, for example, imagination, so the mental image before physical form, perception, like seeing solutions from various angles, and resonance and intuition, like impulses from spirit, from your higher self, that translates into something meaningful for you. And you'll realize this wait, I can actually choose what I think about. I'm so happy that I am in full control of my thoughts, of my emotions, of my actions. So know yourself as this unlimited potential in physical form. That is freedom. And life will become this fun game of exploring all the avenues it unfolds for you. And that is freedom. And I wanted to mention all of this for you guys because of this North Node in Aries, because I think it's a really powerful time to step into your freedom, to step into your truth. So I know this was a bit of a rant. So the last thought I want to share with you is really simple. We always have the choice to reach for the best feeling thought. We always have the choice to reach for the best feeling thought. You are worthy of freedom, and you are worthy of unconditional love, and you are worthy of the best feeling thought at any given moment. And I love you guys, and I hope you found this vlogcast helpful or inspirational. And I want to say thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me to know what you guys want me to talk about. And it also helps others to find this content if that is what they're looking for. And I want to wish you the most amazing day with so much love to you and to yours.